Hey guys, Mona Lisa here, and I'm going to be reacting to Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 3. Yeah, we lost Joffrey in the last episode. I don't know. I'm kind of glad he's gone, but then he was a really great villain, so sort of like mixed feelings about it. But I've sort of been trying to work out who could have, been behind that poisoning, and it could be anybody. Like, it could be anybody. Yeah, I haven't got a clue who it is. I mean, it's a bit funny that Prince Oberyn has arrived, but then, that there's so many people who wanted him dead. So, yeah. Speaking of Prince Oberyn, I was sort of trying to work out what connection he had with Dany, so I made this little tree thing to try and work it out. And yeah, because I thought he was like an uncle or something like that, but it turns out that Rhaegar's kids were both Dany and Prince Oberyn's nieces and nephews, so that's the connection with them. So yeah, I had to do that to sort of work it out because it gets really complicated, I think. So yeah, my chart is changed a bit from last episode. Cersei, Joffrey, Missandei, Selyse and Stannis, they've gone down by one. Bronn, Davos, and Prince Oberyn's gone up. So yeah, there's a few people who changed on that. So yeah, as per usual, guys, no spoilers, no hints or anything like that. It'll just spoil it for everybody. So yeah, please no spoilers. And yeah, I think that being said, yeah, I've got Patreon if you guys like to check out the full reactions. The link is below, so you can go on there and see the full reactions. But it's up to you guys. And yeah, that being said, let's get started.
You did this! You did this!
We have to leave.
Take him! Take him! Where's Sansa?
Find her. Bar the gates of the city, sees every ship in the harbor.
Where is she?
No one leaves the capital! No one!
I mean, surely they can't think it's them. Oh, I just hope he can be trusted. I mean, I had in my predictions that I was hoping that well, the Stark's luck were gonna change.
Up you go, my lady. You'll be fine. You're stronger than you know.
Lord Baelish.
Peter.
Oh,
My lady. Good. Good. I'm sure you've had quite a fright. Rest easy. The worst is
Lord
past.
Baelish, I promised I'd get her to you safely.
Softly, my friend.
Wait!
You don't want the Queen to hear, do you? How do you think they would punish the girl who murdered the king?
I didn't murder anyone.
I know, but you must admit it looks suspicious. The king who executed your father.
what looks
who
suspicious is you're
tormented
back.
you for years, and you fled the scene of his murder.
He was helping me because I saved his life.
Yes. And he gave you a priceless necklace that once belonged to his grandmother. The last legacy of House Hollard. I had it made a few weeks ago. What did I once tell you about the capital?
I trust no
We're all
one.
liars here.
You're safe with me. Sailing home.
Ah, this is twisted, man.
I'm not trying to trick you.
It wouldn't surprise me
Means I'll
if
become
it's
king.
Tywin who
Yes,
had the whole
You'll
thing.
become king. What kind of king do you think you'll be?
A good king?
I think so as well. What is a good king's single most important quality?
This is hardly the place or the time.
King Robert was strong. He won the rebellion and crushed the Targaryen dynasty.
I mean, I suppose Tommen is young enough for Tywin to mould
17
him.
years. He spent his time whoring and hunting and drinking until the last two killed him. A wise king knows what he knows and what he doesn't. You're young. A wise young king listens to his counselors and heeds their advice until he comes of age. And the wisest kings continue to listen to them long afterwards.
Where are we?
Near Fair Market, I think.
You think? You don't have a map?
No, I don't have a map.
Maybe we should get one.
I just point out the next map shop you see and I'll buy you one.
How far is it to the Eyrie?
Far.
He's never been the same.
Which house did he fight for?
The Tullys of Riverrun.
There's a storm coming. You'll be wanting a roof tonight. There's fresh hay in the barn. And Sally here makes rabbit stew just like her mum used to do. We asked the Father to judge us with mercy, accepting our human frailty.
You going to do all 7 of the fuckers?
Father!
And I asked the stranger not to kill us in our beds tonight for no damn reason at all.
I'm so sorry. Really good.
The Red Wedding, they're calling it. Lord of Frey committed sacrilege that day. He shared bread and salt with the Starks. He offered them guest right.
Guest right don't mean much anymore.
It means something to me.
Fair wages for fair work.
So I take it this is where the Red Wedding, I mean, that's what they called it. So I take it that's where fans got the Red Wedding from, this scene here.
What did you do?
Get your horse saddled. He's a good man. His daughter makes a nice stew. And they'll both be dead come winter.
You don't know that!
I do know it. He's weak. He can't protect himself. They'll both be dead come winter. Dead men don't need silver.
You're the worst shit in the Seven Kingdoms!
He's plenty worse than me. I just understand the way things are. How many stars they got to behead before you figure it out?
Joffrey. The usurper, Joffrey Baratheon. I said those words when I tossed a leech into the fire. A leech filled with bastard blood. A bastard you set free.
You're late.
Sorry, Princess.
I thought you weren't coming.
The hand of the king doesn't have much leisure time.
You won't be a very good hand if you see the word knight and say Kurd nigget.
That happened once, weeks ago. You're your father's daughter and no mistake. Bloody relentless, the both of you.
It's a new one today. Lots of tricky words. But I think you can manage.
The life and adventures of Elio Grivas, first sword of Bravos. Thank you very much.
I like this one. It's full of sword fights and pirates. My father says a criminal's a criminal.
Your father lacks an appreciation of the finer points of bad behavior. I suppose if you work for the Iron Bank of Bravos, and each one of your gold barges is worth half a kingdom, you tend not to be overly concerned with the kind of distinction.
Oh.
The king was poisoned.
I hear you studied poisons at the Citadel.
I did. This is why I know.
You spoke with Tyrion in this very brothel on the day that you arrived.
You think we conspired together?
What did you discuss?
The death of my sister.
For which you blame me.
She was raped and murdered by the Mountain. The Mountain follows your orders. Of course I blame you.
Men at war commit all kinds of crimes without their superiors' knowledge.
So you deny involvement in Elia's murder?
Categorically. There will be a trial for my son, and as custom dictates, 3 judges will render a verdict. I will preside. Mace Tyrell will serve as the 2nd judge. I would like you to be the 3rd.
I never realized you had
And all he has to do
respect
is
for Dawn,
tell
Lord Tywin.
We are not
everybody
7
that
kingdoms until Dawn returns
Tyrion
to
is
the fold.
guilty.
The king is dead. And in the east, a Targaryen girl has 3 dragons. Before long, she will turn her eyes to Westeros. Only the Dornish managed to resist Aegon Targaryen and his dragons.
Podrick. Apologies for the stench.
I brought you some wine, my lord, but they took it from me.
A noble effort.
I didn't find the candles, though. A quill, some parchment, duck sausage, almonds, and some hard cheese.
You're a good lad.
You're to stand trial in a fortnight for murdering the king.
Do you believe I murdered Joffrey?
No, my lord. You didn't.
No. Gods, no. The world is a better place without him, but I had nothing to do with it.
I'm supposed to get a list of names from you, my lord. Anyone who might testify on your behalf.
Oh, I can call my own witnesses. How generous of them. Very well, my wife.
Yeah, and those
Sansa.
witnesses are going to disappear, aren't they?
She's gone.
Gone?
No one's seen her since the wedding.
No one had more cause to kill Joffrey than Sansa. But the girl's no assassin. Podrick.
Yes, my lord.
They'll be following you now.
Who will?
I don't know. They, the ominous they. The man pulling the strings, or woman, my father. Maybe Joffrey was too much work for him. Sweet Tommen would be so much easier to handle. Yeah. Whenever something bad happens to me, I assume it's my sister that had a hand in it. She is the only one I'm certain had nothing to do with this murder. Which makes it unique, as King's Landing murders go.
A man... I didn't know his face. He came to ask if I'd testify against you. Said I'd be named Sir Podrick Payne if I told the judges you'd bought a poison called the Strangler.
Are you going to accept their offer?
You've been good to me, my lord.
Pod. The trial's in a fortnight. We'll want an answer before that.
Already gave them an answer, my lord.
I will not have you dying on my behalf. Do you hear me? Go and find my brother and tell him I need him. And get yourself out of King's Landing before it's too late. Pod! This is farewell.
Farewell, my...
We have just over 100 men, and that's including stewards and builders and me. We can't afford to lose a single man. We must remember our first responsibility. We are the watchers on the wall.
Mont's raider is coming. If the wildlings breach the wall, they'll roll over everything and everyone for 1,000 miles before they reach an army that can stop them.
Rangers returning.
Took you so long?
We were held up.
By what?
Chains. We were guests of the mutineers across this keep.
And the mutineers stay.
They're not going anywhere. They've got Craster's food and his wives.
I told the wildlings we had over 1,000 men at Castle Black alone. Carl and the others know the truth as well as we do. How long do you think they'll keep that information to themselves when the wildlings are peeling their fingernails off? Man says all he needs to crush us, he just doesn't know it yet.
A single rider. A champion of Marine. They want you to send your own champion against them.
Send the dragon.
What is he doing?
I believe he means to...
He says that we're an army of men without man parts. You're my most trusted advisor, my most valued general, and my dearest friend. I will not gamble with your life.
I was the last to join your army. I'm not your general, or a member of your Queen's Guard, or the commander of your Unsullied. Let me kill this man for you.
Very well. We have quite an audience. Make it worth their while.
Sesir merinnot mastan. Jevi klenuntis ixondaon. Jevi klenuntis jemo baktot issa. Jevi klenuntis jemo rinja laudissis osenis. Naijon!
Oh, is that chain? That's clever. I do like that, like air attack sound. Alright, so that was a really good episode. Yeah, there was a lot of things happening in this one, so let's go through it. So we started off with sort of the whole aftermath of Joffrey's death. Obviously Cersei thinking that it's Tyrion who was behind it, which, you know, understandably, they've got beef, and you know, Joffrey's been trying to sort of kill Tyrion, so, you know, you would think that Tyrion would want to get back at him, wouldn't you? But yeah, Sansa got away with the help of the Fool, which I thought, oh, I don't know, I didn't quite trust it. Yeah, and it turned out that yeah, Littlefinger was behind it all. Yeah, I thought he'd gone away. Obviously not, which makes it a bit suspicious. You know, why is he there now? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his intentions are. I think he must be working with Tywin, surely, because Littlefinger doesn't do anything just for the hell of it. He's like 10 steps ahead of everybody. So I think he's working with Tywin, and yeah, he's got Sansa now. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm a bit confused with it, but we'll see. Obviously, it turned out that Littlefinger had been paying the well, he promised him gold, the full gold, to get Sansa to him, but yeah, the Fool got killed because of that. So yeah. Then we had the scene with Marjorie and Olenna discussing, you know. Yeah, Marjorie thought she was cursed, which, you know, you would think, but things happen, don't they? When you marry kings, it's not a very safe occupation in that world, is it? So, so it sounded like Olenna was sort of thinking about Marjorie marrying Tommen, which sounds very weird because Tommen is she's still young, isn't he? But I suppose until he comes of age, nothing's going to be happening. So yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. But that sort of sounded like that's where it was heading. Then we had Tywin, the whole around Joffrey's body with Cersei, Tommen, and yeah, Tywin. It's sort of, I don't know if they're trying to make it too easy to try and work out that Tywin is behind it all. It seems a bit too in your face. It's making it a bit confusing. But as it came up, how I saw it was that sort of Tywin has been behind it. He knows Joffrey is a sick dog, like I said in season 2, and I think he had Joffrey put down, and Tommen is the next in line. He's a more likable guy, and I think Tywin can mold Tommen into what he wants him to. So yeah, I think Tywin is behind the murder of Joffrey. But then again, it just seems a bit too. It seems a bit too convenient. But we'll see. I still think that it's Tywin who's behind the whole thing. And then Jaime came in and yeah, basically raped Cersei, which I wasn't expecting him to do. So yeah, I'm not on board with that. She's grieving, and she obviously said no to him, and he still went ahead. So no, not having that. Then we had the Hound and Arya and the farmer coming, who offered them board and food and a job, and Arya is becoming quite a good little liar, isn't she? Very convincing. Yeah, she can definitely handle herself there, can't she? And what does the Hound do? He kind of steals the silver from the guy, and they're on their way. I suppose the Hound was right in what he was saying, that this guy and the girl was never going to survive, which I think is true. But dude, you don't need to be stealing everything they have. You're a big guy, you can get money somehow, other than stealing it from this guy. But yeah, he was true. Like, a dead man doesn't need silver, but yeah. It is what it is, but yeah, I'm not quite liking that. But it was quite funny, the whole dinner scene. Obviously they're both so hungry that you just didn't want to listen to like the prayer. So yeah, I did like that scene. That was pretty good. And we had Sam Gilly, the whole conversation. Obviously, the guys at the Castle Black are, thinking about Gilly because she's the only woman there, and she's a cute girl. So of course Sam is going to be worried about that, and yeah, he wants her out of there, but taking her to a brothel to sort of cook and clean and that, I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, he did say to whoever owned the brothel or was in charge of it that that she was not going to be doing anything but clean and cook and that. So I don't trust it, but we'll see what happens there. I think she is going to be forced, and stuff is going to happen to her, but I don't want it to happen, but I can't see any way out of that. Then we had Davos and Shireen. He's still learning to read, and yeah, they sort of had a conversation, and the book he was reading has something to do with Braavos, and that sort of got him thinking about the the Bank of Braavos. I mean, obviously something in his head clicked, and he had Shireen write a letter on behalf of Stannis. So that's going to be sent to Braavos. So yeah, obviously he has a plan, and that's to get the people of Braavos on their side, I would imagine. But I suppose it'll get made more clear as we go along. But yeah, that's sort of what I gathered from that. Then we had Prince Oberyn in the brothel enjoying himself, and then Tywin coming in. Yeah, Tywin has had it worked out from get-go, hasn't he? Sort of questioning Oberyn. I think he knows that Oberyn wouldn't have done it that way, I would imagine, and yeah, he just basically needs Oberyn to be on his side, to be one of the judges, and promising him that he can get him the mountain if he does that. So basically manipulating Oberyn. Yeah, I hope Oberyn. Yeah, I don't know if all three on that like the judges, they need to say yes, or if it's just two of them, I don't know. But I think Oberyn's not the kind of guy who's going to be manipulated like that. So I think if it came to the trial, he would say that Tyrion is not guilty. I would hope, but we'll see. Tywin was saying that the men of Dawn were the only ones who could stand up to the Targaryens or something like that, and that's why he needs Tywin needs Oberyn. That's what I got out of that. But why is he not speaking to the prince, like his older brother? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, he obviously wants Oberyn on his side. But Oberyn and Dany obviously have a connection that, you know, their nephews and nieces were killed by Tywin, so I could see that end badly for Tywin. I don't think Oberyn is going to be the kind of guy who's going to be just do whatever Tywin says. He's got his own plans and he's there because of he wants revenge. So yeah, I don't think it's going to end well for Tywin. Hopefully it won't. So then we saw the scene with Tyrion and Pod. That was heartbreaking. Pod is I think he's a noble guy, isn't he? He stands by what is right, and he wasn't going to betray Tyrion. It sort of seemed that Tyrion is working out that his father is behind Joffrey's death, and obviously there's a lot of people who aren't allowed to see Tyrion. And Pod has been basically they're blackmailing him on. They'll make him a Sir if he goes against Tyrion. So Pod wasn't going to do that, but Tyrion said that he wasn't going to have Pod die. He wasn't going to have Pod die because of him. So it sounded like he's sending Pod out of King's Landing. Yeah, so he's basically going to be a fugitive Pod, yeah. Then we have the whole wildlings attacking the little settlement. Yeah, there was no mercy there, was there? And they killed basically everybody apart from the little boy and the sort of cannibal guy. I don't know what his name is. I can't remember what their tribe was called. But yeah, he was telling the boy that, oh yeah, I'm going to eat your mom and dad. And yeah, you're going to run off to Castle Black and tell them. Absolutely sick bastard. Yeah, you do. I mean, poor kid, you know, that's going to be... Yeah, no. Yeah, so he obviously ended up at Castle Black, and the Rangers returned with Glen. They've obviously been prisoners at the Crastock camp, with Carl being the leader, and they were working out that they were going to have to go and kill Carl and their lot, because they will talk. I mean, obviously the wildlings are going to come and attack, and yeah, they're going to be squealing, aren't they? So they will tell them how many men they actually have, and that will be easy for the wildlings then to attack Castle Black, because they know they don't have the numbers that Jon told them they had. So yeah, they need to get up there and get rid of Carl. So I can totally see why. Yeah. Then we had the end scene with Dany arriving at the city, and of course I can't remember what the city is called. There's something with M, but yeah. It sort of like seemed that they knew they were coming, and they sent out a guy who was going to be fighting. He was a champion who was going to be fighting one of Dany's champions, and I quite like the fact that Dany wasn't going to let Grey Worm or Barristan or oh god, I can't remember his name now. He's my favourite character. But yeah, she wasn't going to let her guys fight. So she let... my mind is just gone. Yeah, so she what was his name now? The new guy, the Bravos guy. Oh, this is ridiculous. But yeah, in the end... Oh, Darius. So you had him fight the champion, and obviously he beat the champion. So they tossed, catapulted these barrels up against like the wall and that, and it turned out to be sort of like what the slaves were wearing. So obviously the slaves in the city saw that, and saw that that was the people who used to be slaves, that was their collars, and obviously they're free now. So yeah, that was very clever. I would imagine there's a lot more slaves than normal people. I don't know if that's a word, but in that city. So yeah, that's a lot of people for Dany to sort of gather, isn't it? So yeah, very good episode. It's just a lot more questions now than answers. It's very well written, and my mind is just absolutely all over the place. I don't know what the hell what's going on. So yeah, I enjoyed that episode. It seems to be so far it's going to be a good season. Yeah. So my top 5. Number 1 is Arya. She's such a good little liar, and she can really read a situation, and if the Hound hadn't ruined it, he would have gone her way. So yeah, she's very smart, and she can read a situation, and she can manipulate that as well. She looks like a quite innocent little kid, doesn't she? But yeah, she's not now, is she? So yeah, she's my favorite character in this episode. Number 2 is Pod. Again, he is loyal. He's loyal to Tywin. No, he's not. He's loyal to Tyrion, and he wasn't gonna go against Tyrion. He was gonna honor the fact that he was Tyrion's squire, and I love that about him. He'd been promised to become a Sir if he went against Tyrion, and Pod wasn't going to be doing that. So unlike a lot of other people, they would have taken it, but Pod didn't. So now Pod is going to have to get out of King's Landing. So I love that. Yeah, so that's why he's my number 2. Number 3 is Sam. Yeah, you can see that Gilly is going to be in danger at Castle Black, so he wanted her to get out of there. Where he sent her, I don't think is the best place, but it comes from the heart, and he wants to protect her. So yeah, he's my number 3. And number 4 is Tyrion. Again, he's under a lot of pressure, but I think when Pod was there, he sort of Tyrion worked out, what was going on, and he worked out basically what's going on, I think. So yeah, very clever guy, and of course he's one of my heroes, so you want to see him succeed. So yeah, he's my number 4. Number 5 is Jon. Again, he's quite clever. I think he's grown up a lot, and he realized that they need to go to Craster's place and kill these guys, because they will talk, and it's not going to end up well for the guys at Castle Black. So yeah, he's my number 5. So the bottom, number 1 is Tywin. He's the puppet master behind absolutely everything, and I still think he had Joffrey killed. He's trying to manipulate everybody. I mean, how he was trying to manipulate Tommen. Obviously, in his head, Joffrey was too uncontrollable, so I'll kill him off, and we'll take the next one in line. I mean, I suppose that's why they got, it's called the heir and the spare. The heir dies, you got a spare, who's in this situation probably a better choice. But I think he's the puppet master behind absolutely everything, so I don't like him, never have, never will. So yeah, in this one here, he was my number 1. Number 2 is the again, I don't know what his name is, but like the cannibal wildling who told the little boy that he was going to eat his mum and dad, and he had to look at his mum and dad and then run off. sick. You know, he's a little child. You don't treat a child like that. So yeah, he's my number 2. Number 3 is Jaime. I didn't like the fact that he forced himself on Cersei. No, you know, I like Jaime, but no, I'm not having that. So that's why he's my number 3. I couldn't find any number 4 and 5 on this one. It would be easy to put people on there, but I don't think anybody else deserves to be on that list. So yeah, that's my top and bottom. Yeah, very good episode. I enjoyed that, and I can't wait to get stuck into this season like properly. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. So yeah, that being said, obviously I got Patreon if you want to watch the full reactions. They're on there, and I just want to thank you guys for watching and not giving me the spoilers for this. It means a lot. And yeah, if you haven't already, guys, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you next episode.